Everyone has a favorite song, whether it be the pop song on the radio that you hear every day on your way to class, or your favorite song from your local musician. All artists touch their fans through their music, but did you know that some artists touch their fans on a more deep level by promoting and supporting nonprofit organizations? Many artists today are becoming more heavily involved in supporting these nonprofits that improve our community. In this speech, you will learn of some of these organizations supported by the music industry, some of the foundations and where the funds go that these nonprofits provide means for, and how musicians are involved and how they distribute this information to fans. One of the most inspiring nonprofit organizations supported by the music industry is the Dear Jack Foundation. Founded in 2006 by the previous vocalist of Something Corporate, Andrew McMahon, the Dear Jack Foundation raises awareness and funds for cancer in young adults, primarily ages 15 to 35. At age 22, McMahon was at his prime in his career, and he was just set to release his first album off his solo project, Jack's Mannequin, when he received some disturbing news. Andrew was diagnosed with acute lymphatic leukemia. In an interview with the CBS News anchor, he stated that while he was at his prime, he was knocked down, and you can be handed the worst set of cards, but you'll have hope to end up on your feet. The Dear Jack movie is the documentation of his fight against leukemia, his search and find for a stem cell donor, and his recovery process. And in the same interview with CBS, he states that the biggest asset of this movie is how honest the documentary is, and how it shines light on the struggles that cancer patients go through on a day-to-day basis. Now that he is in remission, McMahon performs benefit concerts to provide funds for programs such as the UCLA Stem Cell Transplant Program, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. Now that you have heard of the Dear Jack Foundation and how musician Andrew McMahon is heavily involved, this brings me to the next organization supported by the music industry, To Write Love on Her Arms. The mission of To Write Love on Her Arms is to provide hope and help for those struggling with depression, self-harm, anxiety, addiction, and suicide. Originally, To Write Love on Her Arms was just to be a short story that was written by Jamie Forkowski. And in the short story, he describes the struggles that Renee Yoho went through in struggling these factors, and how himself and a few other colleagues of his provided hope and help for her. In the response to the story, Forkowski was motivated to start the nonprofit organization to raise awareness about the struggles that Renee went through and how people in similar positions can find help. To Write Love on Her Arms uses merchandise, benefit shows, and donations to provide funds for hotlines that help those who need it find professional help. Well-known bands that have been known to support To Write Love on Her Arms include Amberlin, Forever the Sickest Kids, Paramore, The Plain White T's, Fall Out Boy, and Panic at the Disco, to name a few. Now, some of these bands have performed benefit shows at the university chapter level. University chapters are the college-level organizations that are started by street team members or individuals who voluntarily help To Write Love on Her Arms, and they're on campuses nationwide. These organizations help students with stress and depression caused by factors of being out on their own for the first time and the stress of the different level of education they're receiving. Now, I've named a few well-known musicians like Andrew McMahon and Paramore, who are heavily involved with these organizations, but they're just a few of the many musicians who have foundations that they support. This brings me to another organization supported by the music industry, the Keep Abreast Foundation. The Keep Abreast Foundation raises awareness and funds for breast cancer research, and they help provide prevention awareness to young females and how they can prevent themselves from becoming cancerous. The name Keep Abreast comes from two meanings. To keep a breast, as in to not lose a breast to cancer, or keep abreast, as in to keeping up to date with the information and research on prevention. Keep Abreast primarily uses their I Heart Boobies campaign to raise awareness and money. Now, the I Heart Boobies campaign has a major conflict with schools and political and public figures who perceive the campaign as an absurd gesture. But this absurd gesture provides curiosity to those who do not know about the organization, and therefore it helps others talk about it and raise more awareness. Keep Abreast also uses castings to raise money for Keep Breast Cancer Foundation. Castings of female athletes and musicians' breasts are painted by professional painters or survivors of breast cancer, and then they are auctioned off. Previous musicians like Katy Perry and Pink have casted themselves, and other musicians involved include Tom DeLonge of Angels and Airwaves and the Foo Fighters. Keep Abreast also used bands from the 2009 Vanport Tour in their Check Yourself promotional video, where Keep Abreast promotes the use of products without Parabol, a chemical that can help cause lymphatic problems. And they promote vegetarianism because it's been proven that vegetarians are less likely to get breast cancer. Today, I hope you learned how involved the music industry is in all aspects of life through nonprofit organizations. Musicians use their idolization to help these nonprofits raise awareness and money. Whether they are casting their breasts for auctions, playing benefit shows, or wearing t-shirts that say I Heart Boobies in loud letters, musicians have great impact on the nonprofit world. If you previously were a fan of artists I listed and did not know they were involved, now you can have a more profound sense of respect for these musicians. If you have a favorite musician and you look up to them, you can find if they are heavily involved in a nonprofit that you can have more respect and idolize them a little bit more.